என் மண் என் மக்கள் பாத யாத்திரையின் நாயகன் திரு கே அண்ணாமலை மற்றும் பாரத நாட்டின் பிரதமர் திரு நரேந்திர மோடி அவர்கள் பங்கு கொள்ளும் என் மண் என் மக்கள் நிறைவு மாநாடு பல்லடத்தில் வரும் 27 பிப்ரவரியில் நடைபெறவுள்ளது.
தினம்தோறும் விளக்கேற்ற நல்ல எண்ணெய் இதயம் நல்லெண்ணெய்.
Because it made the term urban Nakshals mainstream, and now urban Nakshals is a blanket term that we use for anybody who is an enemy of India from within. So it has become a part of the popular lexicon. His second book was on who killed Shastri, on Kashmir Files basically. His latest book is actually about life lessons. There is a very different side of him, which is apart from him being a filmmaker, apart from him being a writer, he is also a very sought after life coach. If you see his Instagram feed, you will see that he comes up with really good insights on how to live life, how to fight the social media addiction, how to avoid toxicity in life. It's very interesting. So what is remarkable about Vivek is that he has changed filmmaking, he has made it stand on its head, and he has dared to tell the stories that no one else dared to tell before. In Tamil there is a saying which says that unakku vanda raktam enakku vanda takkali chadama. So it means that if you hurt, it's blood, and if I hurt, it's tomato chutney. So he has made sure that the tomato chutney is actually represented for what it is: blood, our stories. So Vivek, first of all, I want to ask you, your filmmaking has undergone a sea change from your initial days where you did conventional Bollywood movies with stars, and now in your starting from Buddha in the Traffic Jam, in your movies the story is the king. The stars don't matter. Whether you have stars or not, don't have stars, doesn't matter. So how did the shift happen? Was it a very conscious shift?
First, I must thank the organizers to invite me, and Shefali, thanks a lot. Lovely talking to you. After a long time, I'm seeing faces and the vibes. I'm a director, so I catch vibes very well, and I'm a very spontaneous orator. I never prepare. I just speak looking at the people and the kind of energy I get. First time in many years, I'm feeling that we are going to chat and exchange, because every conference and festival has become a television debate. So everybody is there to, accuse somebody or destroy somebody. So we can have, so answering your question, yes, there has been a deliberate shift. And the deliberate shift came because I worked in that star system, and it's nothing wrong. All over the world, you see any kind of profession you will find, there is generally mainstream massy stuff which appeals to the common denominator, and then you have niche stuff which makes an impact and changes things, which innovates, brings new things. In every product, if you'll see, in music also, you'll find there are massy music all over the globe. It's not just in Bollywood or anywhere. So, but then you'll also have easily available channels, easily available avenues to an alternate stories, alternate music, alternate literature. Suppose if you are watching a lot of, say, hip-hop kind of thing, but then you also have channels which are also showing you nice Karnataka music, or they are showing you Kathakali, or showing you. So you generally all over the world, audience has these two choices. But what happened, and people misunderstand, I am not against massy stuff, because if there is no massy stuff, how will you have niche stuff? It's like rich people go and make a lot of money selling goods, but that money they use to put it into freedom movement or making temples or social change, social service. That's why you will find that maximum number of temples in this country are called Birla temples, and they have been built by Birla Group. Nothing wrong with that. But the problem is, we brought this country to a stage where there was no room for any alternate or in any field. Poetry only meant the kind of poetry which was about oppressor and oppressed. Music was only the kind of music which T-Series or some company wanted to produce. And the dances also became basically Bhangra dances and typical Bollywood dances. Earlier there used to be a combination. You see, Raj Kapoor also used to make, he was a leftist, hardcore card holder, IPTA member, but he never made films against India. He never commented on Hindu society and things like that, but he made films about oppressor and oppressed, because that is a leftist way of looking at things, and I'm not against that ideology. But then I think Marxist culturalism, what I call, which in my book Urban Excels I have explained, and it's a fact, it's a recorded part of our history, that when Indira Gandhi had a problem, see, Jawaharlal Nehru was also in a way socialist and all that, but he wasn't the way, the pawn of cultural Marxists, the way Indira Gandhi became, because Indira Gandhi did not have support from inside Congress. And Congress was split into Congress O means organization, and then Congress I. And at that time she wanted support, so she leaned back on CPI and communist parties and all the communist forces of India. And these communists are very smart people. They generally shy away running democratic governments from the front. Okay, they always try to run it from behind. Whatever is happening in America right now is also Marxism from behind, which is creating conflict. So they first create a lot of conflict and a lot of chaos and a lot of debate around oppression, oppressed, and then they say we are right. That is the long-term documented strategy. In India, same thing happened. And everybody who fought freedom movement, the nationalists, people who were writing in Hindi, suppose, imagine in 1990 or 2000, if Dinkar were reborn, then what place he would have. And I have seen with my eyes of us where the state forced the end of so many brilliant writers and poets like Dushyant Kumar, Sharad Joshi, they were all family members too. So I have seen with my eyes. So this shutting of voices, and I hope it doesn't happen in the future, and we have to be very, very alert and aware of this thing. Because what we did, the moment you take away the seriousness from art and culture is the soul of a society. Imagine your own house, look at your children. And if your children know no art, they know no literature, they know no culture, which most of the children are growing up like that now. Because the middle class dream has become, I'm sorry, don't mind my words, but middle class dream has become to send their children to convents. Nothing wrong with every school, even if it's any school, it is a basically convent style school. So send it to convent school and then send them to US to work for Google and all that. That's an Indian dream. We are running after money. We are talking about only economy and all these things. So I realized this in 2006, 7, 8, especially after making Goal. I said, if cinema is supposed to be the most complete art in the world, because this is the only form of art where you have audio, video, and the third dimension. No other art has that. And the impact of cinema is so much that even a child sitting in Tanzania or Japan or Korea or Vietnam, Cambodia, also believes subconsciously that if something goes wrong in this world, America is going to save us. That is the power of cinema. And I wonder that despite having the world's greatest philosophy, there is no philosophy in the world which is parallel. There is no point comparing also. That is also, I think, kind of a cultural blasphemy. Hindu philosophy, I'm not talking the religious part because I'm not expert of that, but Hindu philosophy I have studied a lot from my childhood. There is nothing which comes even close to it. And we have not been, and it talks about the same thing which America today shuts down your voice on human rights and oneness and inclusivity and all those things which you hear. But we failed. We failed because we destroyed our poetry, art, and this thing. So with that intention, I said that I should not make these films because there is something which I can do better than this, and that is the first put all those missing blocks of Indian history and then bring Indian philosophy. I had a very long-term plan, and I'm at the first part of that plan right now.
So let me fast forward a little to Kashmir Files. Kashmir Files has been a very successful movie commercially. But more than that, what I applaud you is because you dared to tell a story which is very courageous, which was out there for everybody to see, but nobody wanted to talk about it, nobody wanted to tell that story. You told it in the movie, and you also followed it up with the OTT series, which is about the real life stories of Kashmiri Hindus. Now, in that movie, there is this very famous sentence which has become a meme now in internet, and I see that at least 10 times a day on my Twitter feed, which is about "Sarkar kisi ki bhi ho, system to hamara hai." And you actually see that happening. So what are your thoughts on this one sentence? And secondly, when you were talking about Kashmir story, all your characters are actually drawn from real life, like the academician which is portrayed by Pallavi Joshi, everybody. So what was the experience like for you doing research, meeting the real victims, knowing their stories, and knowing that you're going to put the truth out there for people to see?
Yeah, so see, it's like when a child grows up and becomes very successful, everybody says, oh wow, you're so successful. But people don't realize it, that behind that there is a sacrifice of their parents of 20-25 years. So yes, like I said, I sat down and I resigned mentally from Bollywood, and then I faced some very bad times, and I lived in isolation. Then I started teaching in different universities, colleges, and that's when I said, see, अब वो क्या है कि चूहे का बच्चा बिल बनाना तो भूल नहीं सकता है. So I with some students we sat down, but when I was making Buddha in a traffic jam, at that time, I realized it was not releasing, there were problems, I was getting depressed. Everybody said, stop doing all this, it's never going to take you anywhere, and make these films, but make commercial, massy films. But I realized that there will be no impact if I do this, Then I will end up making Gadar kind of film, which is just because you want to say this is your enemy and show the enemy and then do everything else. It's a very thin line job. I wanted my films to become historical document. I wanted my films to become modern literature with that intention. So I said, I cannot keep blaming that audience doesn't like it, and it doesn't work. I should be able to face it whichever way. If I have to show it sitting on the street, I should be able to see. If I have to take this film physically all over the world, I'll do it. And it's not that I'm saying it, everybody knows my life is in all social public life, you see I do all the times. So with that strategy we said, see, actually our real work is going to come next year. People can't even imagine. But to reach there, we went backwards. We said, okay, we have to use some kind of a leftist strategy. So I picked up some great things from the left system of working. There's nothing wrong with that. See, ultimately, if anybody says this is correct and that is incorrect, that person is incorrect. There are always some useful things here, useful things there. Pick up from everywhere. Suppose you are a music director and I give you an assignment that, okay, do some music which represents complete India. You can't say, I don't like this region, so I won't take it. You can't say, मेरी तो उन लोगों से लड़ाई चल रही है आजकल on caste basis or religion basis, I won't pick up. You can't do that. So I picked up, and I have been part of that politics. So I said, this has to work at a very different level. So I wrote this book, Urban Naxals, and then I said, let's make a trilogy. First film we made, Right to Truth. Okay, in India, the easiest thing is, if you want to lie, just speak the word truth. Okay, you say, सत्य की खोज में, और उसके बाद आप सबको बेवकूफ बना सकते हैं. Because it's not that we are gullible, because it's part of our DNA. It's like somebody says, dal chawal khate. Nobody says no anywhere. You can say dal sambar or dal something, but nobody says no in India because it's so natural. If I say, acha bahar ja rahi ho, apne bacche ko mere paas chhod do, you will never distrust me. Right? But so with that intention, I said Right to Truth. With Kashmir Files, I put the most intellectual film in front of people, more complex, most difficult film. And when I realized that people are ready to accept this, when that film became a sleeper hit, then by the time we were working on Kashmir Files, then we said, let's bring a more bolder film to people. Are they ready or not to see this kind of harsh truth about themselves? And we brought it. and now I'm making the Delhi Files. And why I'm making Delhi Files is Kashmir Files, there is so much has been spoken about it that there's nothing left to tell. Delhi Files I'm making, and Shefali, you travel a lot, you know it in your heart what I'm saying, that forget young generation, even middle-aged people up to 50, 55, don't even know the area where they live, what has gone there. And all of them call themselves Hindu activists or Jai Shri Ram activists or Sanatan activists, and they know nothing about what has happened there. Because I'll give you two examples. Okay, and why I feel more responsible to tell this truth now. I was in Calcutta, and Sopan Das Gupta had invited me for some event. So I went in National Museum, आपने देखा होगा वो. तो वहाँ पे full ऊपर नीचे means more than 1,000, 1,500 people. And in Calcutta, Bengal, you get lot of crowd, lot of people come. So jam-packed everywhere, and mostly well-to-do IT people, and like today's young, urban, progressive professionals. So while talking, I said कि a few days back we came here to do research. My team was then arrested, and then we had to pull some strings and get them out. And they were, if I was not doing a research on Action Day, and if I was doing research on something, nobody would have arrested them. And then suddenly I realized there was no response. So I asked, how many of you know about Direct Action Day? You will be surprised, not even 5 or 10% hands came out. And those were also older people. Which means the young people living in Bengal do not know. If you don't know about Direct Action Day, Google it just now and just go to the photos, pictures. And the first picture you will see taken by Time and New York Times, you won't be able to sleep today. You can't have food after that. Similarly, I was in Kerala, in Calicut. Calicut, on the same beach from where Gandhiji, for the first time on 16th August 1920, made an announcement that it is a moral duty of all Hindus to support Khilafat, sorry, आजकल trending का ये Khilafat, because our Muslim brothers have been cheated by the Britain, and and from there Swaraj movement started. There was no Swaraj before that. And there was no Asayog Andolan before that started. Asayog, non-cooperation, was started basically to support Khilafat. He said, Khilafat ke liye we will not cooperate with the British government. Do you know that? Did you know that? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. Even historians don't know that. Because all the books you have read on partition are 10% of truth, that's it. Indian students are not taught about cabinet mission. Because when you will be taught about cabinet mission, I'm sorry, a lot of Hindus may not like to know the truth, but you will be shocked and surprised that every single person over there wanted two nations, including Ambedkar. They had their valid reasons that I'm not getting into that. Only two people who were against it, you can't even guess their names. Because nobody taught you. One was Maulana Azad, and the second was Tara Singh, Sardar Tara Singh. And he said at that time, if you sow this seed now, then there will be a demand for Dalistan, Dalithistan, there will be for Dravidistan, and there will be for Sikhistan. He didn't use the word Khalistan. He said Sikhistan because tab Khalsa itna important nahi tha. He said that Tara Singh. And when I was reading the documents I got from Parliament of Cabinet Mission, suddenly my respect grew for that man who I didn't know. So our real heroes are very different from the people. Gopal Patha, for example. You are deliberately not taught about him, but look at what he did at that point of time. Suppose your children and your house is under attack and somebody comes to save you, isn't he like God to you? So we have deliberately taken out the pages from your family album. And now you have no clue who is your grandfather, or you ever had an ancestral house. If she had not spoken about Goa, nobody in India, before Shefali spoke about Goa, nobody in this country knew about Goa. Right? So what I am trying to do is, so what I'm in Delhi Files, we are chronicling or documenting or registering, but we are telling a fascinating story of 100 years of Hindu genocide. Though it's a 800, 900 years of Hindu genocide, I'm just taking 100 in the context of what is not known. Akbar Aurangzeb ne kiya bachcha bachcha janta hai, or he can imagine, you don't have to tell much. But this is a documented history by the Britishers, by the Muslim League, and by the Congress. So only on these three documents we are making that film with our own research. We started in March 2020 when lockdown came, and we are at the last end of it, hopefully next month, and then we go for shooting that film. So that film is a very difficult film for everybody, you know, because पहले तो इसमें सिर्फ वो Islamist terrorist वगैरह involved थे Kashmir Files में, तो educationists will get involved, historians will get involved, whole lot of people will get involved. But somebody has to do it. It has to be done.
You know, you have described yourself as a disruptor, and I can see why, because that is what your filmmaking has been all about, disrupting the standard narrative and telling the truths. Now, I want to ask you the next question. See, you paved the path, and there were other courageous filmmakers as well who chose to tell uncomfortable truths, like Sudipto made Kerala story, like now Article 370 has just been released. But having said that, even though the films were commercially successful, there has still been cancel culture that you have had to face, that Sudipto has had to face. In this state, Kerala Files was not allowed to be screened, even though it was legally given a permission by the censor board, but the people of Tamil Nadu were denied. So this cancel culture still exists, and I'm sure you have faced problems while showing your series on OTT or even showing your film on OTT. So when is this going to change? When is this cancel culture going to change? And why is even commercially viable movies are not making a dent in this this established, I would say, clique of filmmakers and reviewers?
See, cancel culture will change only when democracy, the structure of democracy changes, you know. Otherwise, it's impossible. When you make your democracy a competitive electoral game, then how will you cancel the cancel culture? It's impossible. It's a human nature. And it happens from all the sides. It's not, I mean, talking about cancel culture, if somebody wants to feel superior that, okay, we don't do it, somebody else do it, that's a lie. You are lying to yourself. All of us are cancelling somebody or the other all the times. All political Democrats cancel Republicans, Republicans cancel. Pandav were cancelled by Kaurav. They tried to, but they couldn't. So, वो मैंने देख लिया. I saw it in 2009, 10, 11, and after that I stopped bothering about cancel culture. If one is so bothered about cancel culture, don't come in the game. If you are in the competitive, fierce, like cutthroat, bloody game, then you should be prepared to get some blows and let some blood come out. You cannot say somebody has punched me. So I am beyond that now. So I don't even care about cancel culture and all that. Okay, and if I start thinking about cancel culture, I won't be able to do what I am doing. So it's a strategy also, it's a tactic. I cannot afford to worry too much about cancel culture. And if I say I am against cancel culture, then my conscience has to be very clear, have I cancelled somebody or not? Because we do that. We very often, in social media, we do it. Kuch acha nahi laga, keh diya, this guy is bogus and he's this, and we cancel, you know. So we cancel all the times in our mind or social. Urban Naxals, they try to cancel me, I cancel them, you know. And the next time मेरी एक book आने वाली है अभी जल्दी काफ़ी काम कर रहा हूँ उस पे. The next book, it's called Flaw, F-L-A-W, you know, Flaw. Basically, it's a flaw about flaw lobby, which is, there is a lobby in elite groups of India, you know, an elitist lobby, which is F for feminists, L for liberals, A for atheists, and W for wokes. Okay, and I'm very worried about them because they are the smartest, sneaky people. And I'm very worried because they will say, I'm right wing, मैं तो राम को मानता हूँ, कृष्ण को मानता हूँ, I'm this and that, टीका भी लगा लेंगे. They'll come inside you and दीमक की तरह से they will destroy you. So I'm very scared of them also. So, yeah, so I don't bother much about cancel culture. Yes, as long as you are not physically hurting somebody or you're not hurting somebody's bread and butter and dignity and reputation, credibility. I don't have the power to do that to anybody. People can do that to me. But as far as the films you spoke about, yes, now there also I have two views about it. Since it's not a politically, to be on any political side, so I want to tell you something very honestly. And it's not got to do with these films. Wherever, in any field, wherever, there are always disruptors and innovators. Okay, people will do something different and something new. Like you started talking about saris and handloom and stuff like that, and temples and all. Now if somebody says, acha, she has got popularity, now I should also do it. Okay, they will also start and doing it. ठीक है, शुरू के एक दो लोगों को they will be successful. But everybody who tries to play like Sachin Tendulkar will never be successful. And what will happen, these imitators then ultimately end up destroying the credibility of that genre of product. This is what destroyed left system. Don't forget that. And we are making the same mistake because we Hindus, jaise like iPhone, when you buy it, there are some default apps you can't do anything about them. You can't even delete them, otherwise there will be no phone. It comes with the default 2-3 apps. Hindus also are born with 2-3 default apps.
Operating systems.
First, they don't even care that there is an enemy. Shatru bodh jisko kehte. They won't even know that there is somebody's mind. Are nahi, acha hai, acha hai, acha hai. Ghar ke bade boode hote na, old people. They say, no, trust him. And ultimately they realize by the time it's a bit late. But once they realize that there is an enemy, then they want to use the same enemy's tactics and strategy, then they want to become like him. And that's why you see our modern time battles and wars, we have lost many. Not one. Every time we go like this, we come back. After Mopla, we were winning. And then Direct Action Day came. And Jawaharlal Nehru said, no, Jinnah keeps talking, he won't do anything. But he did it. Then he said, we should also become like them. Now we don't want one country, we want two countries. That's exactly what happened. Direct Action Day, Jinnah, Muslim League knew. Do you know that Jinnah was such a pro-Hindu liberal person? He just changed for politics. Rangila Rasool, he fought our case. For Rangila Rasool, even the Tribune case, he was a lawyer for Hindus. So Jinnahs realized that these Hindus have a problem. Okay, they will imitate your gambit. Whatever gambit you play, they will say, we have to be better at this gambit. You know. So what he did was, he said, on 16th of August, 1946, on the day of Badr during Ramzan, he announced Direct Action Day, and he said, kill all Hindus, wipe them out, to such an extent, it's an open speech, it's a recorded, we have the recording. He said, create so much of terror that after that, every Hindu leader says they want two nations. Okay? And then after the meeting, he told Soravadri and all these people, so he said, but you have opened your cards in front of everybody. Praful ji, recorded bata aapko. So usne bola, Soravadri said, but you have opened your cards in front of everyone. He says, trust me, they will not believe it. And that's exactly, then the journalist went to Nehru ji and he said that Jinnah has announced this. He laughed and he said, do you really think that Jinnah can do something like that? And he did it. 20,000 people were killed in a couple of days, 2 days, 3 days. And then after that, they said, we'll also become like that. And now let's kill all Muslims in that area. They tried, but they couldn't. Then Gandhi ji came, then asked them to surrender. एक मैं यहाँ छोटा फिल्म की बात चली, एक एग्जाम्पल आपको मैं बताना चाहता हूँ. I want to share this with you. Have you seen movie Gandhi? I'll tell you how leftists do their propaganda. Have you seen film Gandhi? I can guarantee 90% of people sitting over here or anywhere in India or the world, whatever they know about partition or Gandhi, they know through that. Correct? There's a very important scene in that. After that Direct Action Day scene, Gandhiji is sitting and he's asking everybody to surrender their weapons, their guns and knives and everything, and everybody is blindly surrendering it. Then comes Om Puri. Remember Om Puri, the actor? He comes, he's a bit angry and all that. He says, no, I won't do it. Then Nehruji says, no, you have to do it. And ultimately he says, I respect Gandhi so much and blah, blah, blah. And he surrendered. Usme bhi Gandhi is a hero. But the truth, BBC has recorded. So I'm not saying Indian people. Okay, so forget it. Everybody trusts BBC. So let's go BBC. What BBC writes? What BBC has documented? They said that Gopal Patha went to Gandhi and he said, even if one my nail has been used to save Hindu brothers and sisters, I won't even give you the tip of that nail. That's what Gopal Patha said. And in the film, how they've shown it? And don't forget, it was a government-sponsored this thing. Second example I'll give you, don't mind it, but because you don't know how Hindus are gullible and how stupid we are that everybody can make fool of ourselves. These days I've been reading, everybody is saying Congress government brought Mahabharat and they brought Ramayana and they brought Mahabharat. Everybody today calls himself in last 10 years, I am Sanatani, I am Dharmik and Jai Shri Ram and this and everybody has become super Hindu. Huh? No. Yeah. But if you see the general outside of the people, outside world, everybody, people who I've never seen for 50 years who put even one tika, today put big tika, because it's fashionable, it's fine. When bell bottoms come in fashion, you do that. If tomorrow this government is not there, they will say, okay, say Jai Akbar, people will start saying if it's fashionable and money is involved. Now, Mahabharat, let's take Mahabharat. We are making, have you heard the name of S.L. Bhairappa? One of the greatest living writers. Nobody can dispute it. Even leftists don't dispute that. He has written a book called Parv. Okay. So he asked me to make that into a film. He called me, said, you do it. So we bought rights and we are making it now. So first we were calling it Parv. A lot of people saying, don't call Parv, call it Mahabharat. So we'll think about that later, but we are making it. And that gave us access to all the versions. There are 11,000 versions, but right from Oriental. We are reading a lot, we are talking to a lot of experts of Mahabharata, the real genuine experts, not today's experts, you know. कि बहती गंगा में हाथ धोने वाले नहीं. क्योंकि मुझे, I think a lot of people, them are not honest people, they're just doing it and that is fine. आप मुझे बताइए, what was the age of Arjun and Krishna in Mahabharata, B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata, which you have seen? They were 25, 30, good-looking young heroes. And what was the real age in Mahabharata? Huh?
56, I think, Arjun.
60. And Krishna was around 70. Correct? That is the documented Bhandarkar's Oriental, every scholar of Mahabharata. And please pardon me, even I didn't know before this. Everybody, every leftist have recorded that. Aapke Pune ki wo, that lady who has written a lot of about all the characters. Leftists have recorded this, rightists, Sanskrit scholars, foreigners, everywhere you go in the world. And nobody had any objections till date. Nobody even knows this. Now imagine if you show Jesus Christ as a 13-year-old kid, or you show Buddha as a 16-year-old child, or you show Muhammad Sahab as a 13, 14-year-old boy, will anybody tolerate that? We have been tolerating the distortion of our history. They changed a matured, wise, experienced Arjun to a young boy Arjun, and he started looking like he doesn't know, he's confused. Arjun was not confused in Mahabharata. He was asking larger questions which was like beyond human understanding. But today Arjun is portrayed as, you see any play, a young boy will play that role and he's confused. कि अच्छा मुझे पता नहीं है, बताइए गुरुजी मैं क्या करूं. No, it wasn't that relationship. They were friends. So like this, so many imagery and everything has been subliminally transferred into our mind. All I'm trying to do is I'm trying to correct it. I don't see Gandhi as a saint. I see Gandhi as a politician. I'll show him as a politician. There's nothing wrong in it. I'll show Nehru was not a statesman. He was a pure hardcore politician whose only objective, like a Coca-Cola CEO, was that everybody should buy my product. Nothing wrong with it. He wanted Congress to win. He was doing everything which has to be done to win, make Congress win. Like today's governments in whichever where, or central government, isn't our government saying 400 chahiye is bar, and they are doing everything to win that. So that is the nature of politics. But you and I, not politicians, we are not in the vote bank market. So we have to be honest to our craft and our art.
Talking about that, that brings me to my next question. Do you feel that all art is increasingly getting politicized now, whether it is dance, whether it is music, whether it is writing, whether it is filmmaking? I mean, not talking in the sense of taking sides. I am saying that pure art, pure creativity is somewhere getting waylaid by political narratives. Do you feel that? And if yes, then what is the way out? I mean, how do we encourage pure creativity?
Art is becoming political or not, but I know politics is becoming very artistic. देखिए, we are now today in 2023 we are at, I think, most challenging time of Indian history, because two things are happening in this country. Lots of things are happening which experts can tell. I can just tell you about things which I understand. Number one, we are at such a growth level, at a level of development from where either we can create wonders, or we can just lose the momentum. So right now, if you ask me, as a citizen, I think our top priority should be to let this momentum go and contribute as much. But अभी ताली बजाने की बात नहीं आई है. अभी एक thought है. But if you look at the history of the world, history of humanity, you read 5,000 years of history, and you see why civilizations perished, why societies perished, why a very rich Roman Empire perished, or Ottoman Empire perished, or any Mongols ruled most of the world at that time. Why did they perish? Why Mughals perished? Why colonials perished? The reason is, it's my research, my understanding. I am not saying it's the most authentic. Please see it as just an alternate point of view. But it's very correct. Just let me warn you that when you run only after development or growth of a society, that every citizen should say, I'm doing economically well, the biggest price you have to pay is the soul of the society, which is art and culture. And with my own eyes, I have seen a very, very sharp decline of Indian art, literature, and aesthetics in last 10 years. I have never seen such economic growth, and I have never seen such cultural and artistic growth in this country. I do this experiment everywhere. I can do it now. Okay? Till say 2010, I mean, or thoda aur pehle chale jaiye, up to 2010, I would say, decades mein baante hain. Almost everywhere you ask people, they knew at least 5 genuine, authentic Indian singers. If you ask people 5 poets, they couldn't say 5, they would say 2, 3 poets. Kyunki tab the. You could say these are the 5 greatest dancers of contemporary India. I'm saying contemporary, purani baat nahi kar raha hu. You could say these are the 5 genuine film directors from India. These are the 5 genuine artists. Aapko naam pata hai. Aaj, today, whatever artist name you know, I guarantee all those names are before 2010. MF Hussain pata hoga, ऐसे आपको रज़ा पता होगा, ऐसे 4-5 नाम पता होंगे. आज के किस आर्टिस्ट का नाम आप जानते हैं? जबकि इतनी publicity है, so much of social media, so much of PR, social media machine, because there is no genuine product. So what we did in this process, and it's not that it's happening in India, it's happening in lots of countries. But I respect Europe because they have allocated a huge budgets to protect their art and culture. That's why if you go to Europe, everywhere people are singing and playing music or writing poetry. They promote so much of art. We, today in the name of music, all you have is Bollywood music. And that is also Punjabi style Bhangra music. And why are you blaming? First, governments have nothing to do with it. Tell me, when your child's birthday is there, not in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, 2 places are still left out, what do you play? Bollywood films, some music. If there's a Janeu, you play that. If there is a professional corporate meeting, at the end, everybody is dancing to that. We have converted socializing to only party, drinking, Bollywood music, and no substance. Today we have collectively, there is no art and culture which India can showcase to the world. Name one and I will become your cultural slave for life. Name one. Seriously. There's nothing. Second loss, we have a huge loss. I am telling you, not like an elderly person that what is wrong with you, but I'm just warning you, and these are the things we must think about it. And we have a great leadership, great people who want to do great things, but the thing is they are so focused on this. Because art and culture was always a responsibility of the society. अपने बच्चे को कढ़ाई सिखाओ, डांस सिखाओ, teach your child classical music was parents' responsibility and schools' responsibility. When I was studying, there was no school worth its salt in this country, Christian, this, that, where there was no Saraswati's statue. Today, there is no Saraswati statue. Even in people's house, every house, I can vouch for Brahmin houses, I don't know about others, but every single house used to have one Saraswati statue. Today, you have Durga and Lakshmi statue, no Saraswati statue. We have forgotten. We are so intoxicated with this new growth and flyovers and bullet trains and metros and getting name in the world, which is so important, that we thought that art and culture is also government's responsibility. I must have attended 150 literature festivals in last 10 years. This is the first time we are talking about cinema, art, literature. Every literature festival is a political festival. Who's responsible for this? Second thing is, there was a media, and the media used to address some common citizens' problems. मैं कल ही बता रहा था चंडीगढ़ में in a speech that 10 years ago when I moved to Bombay from Delhi, I used to hate reading, in 1990, I used to hate reading Times of India because they had so much of local news only about the city. First page and second and last page, everything else was about Bombay city. And I came from Delhi, I knew nothing about Bombay, where is Bhandup or Bhayandar and all. So I was least interested. And today if you open Times of India, there is no news about Bombay, there is news about everything else. Right? Media. So we have the world's most pathetic media in this country. Okay? Most pathetic. आपकी बात नहीं, मैं television की बात कर रहा हूँ. We have people who read from teleprompter. Look at our understanding, how we understand, how your children understand. Ask any child today, he won't recognize him as media, he will recognize some anchor of TV as media. And who are these journalists? People who don't even know what they are going to say after 30 seconds. They read from a teleprompter. These are anchors. They are not journalists. But they have acquired the role of journalists. Who has acquired the role of an artist? The person who runs the art gallery. Who has taken the responsibility of showcasing Indian cinema? You all know that. This is the problem. To protect, without protecting your art and culture, we are destroyed. No growth. Many empires, the biggest of the economies have fallen like this because that is the soul if you won't protect it. And that's what I'm trying to do, make people aware with my work that how important, and Delhi Files, we are trying to do something about art and culture.
Thank you so much. Now I have 15 minutes, I'll open the floor for questions. I have just one request. Just ask questions, do not make observations. Thanks.
Good afternoon, sir. About Kashmir Files, you are attempting to encourage the Chief Justices of India to take suo motu cognizance of the genocide and initiate action to bring the perpetrators to justice. I just wanted to know, you have any updates for us on that?
See, yeah, I mean, before Kashmir Files, the case was shut of those Air Force killings, you know, what happened. So Jammu and Kashmir High Court reopened that suo motu. Then Yasin Malik, you know, the government has asked the courts to give him the rarest of the rarest punishments. Then government has fined a tribunal recently, and they have asked all Kashmiri Pandits to come and report all the crimes which were done on them, which is a very good step. And a lot of Kashmiri Pandits, in the morning I was speaking to somebody, they have gone and recorded their things. I don't know what will happen, but these are the changes which have happened. And justice is not only what takes place in the court. Justice is also what you and I think, how perceptions change. That is also justice. If you think somebody was innocent and you figure out, no, he was the murderer, so that is a justice to the family of the victim. So when I went to do research of Kashmir Files in Europe and US, most of the senators and congressmen and member of parliaments or journalists, everybody used to tell me that, see, whatever you say, but India has illegally occupied an Islamic land. That was the general perception about it, and nobody had done to change that perception. But now if I go, even if you go, anybody, so I met the same, who's chairman of Indian caucus. We had met him when we were doing research, and I met him recently. And now they say, oh God, I mean, why Indian government never created awareness about this, that Kashmir has always been an integral part of India. Can you believe it? Like Palestine. Everybody thinks Palestine is an original country, but you know, there was no Palestine before 1945, 46, 47, kab bana tho? 60s, huh? 48, sorry. There was nothing like that. So, but even everybody in the world believes that Israel and Palestine are two different places. So how you project yourself? So we are trying to use our films to as soft power of India to showcase them. I am single, so whatever best I can do, I can do. Yeah.
Asking something? Vivekji, I remember when your first write-up, means my first introduction to you was about your article on trolls and the way you
Article on?
Trolls and the way you defended trolls, that they are not just trolls, they are the alternative voices that you, and I think it was 2013 or something. But that time, you know, still the website as a media platform was emerging. Today, because I come from a classical print media format where still there is a credibility, some form of credibility. Shabda Pramanya is still a very important thing in popular Indian mindset. From there to now, you know, I ask a journalist or students of journalism, what is your primary source of news? And the first response is Instagram. So, no, but largely now the current phase of student, it is Instagram. So, as a person who has traveled this journey from various platforms, even in, for example, in cinematic expression, it is the OTT that has captured the space. How do you see this technology playing the role in shaping the narratives, and what kind of cancel culture and, or rather I would say, monopolization of narratives that is emerging through technology? How do you see this?
Yeah, I remember that article. Yeah, I had written many years back article about smart trolls, and I had justified trolls, defended them, and I said trolls actually are alternate voice. It's like you are sitting and you are weirdly dressed and somebody makes a joke about it. It makes you conscious and you think about it and you change your dressing and don't look weird anymore, which is the right thing to do. And so, but at that time, social media had just come, this is before 2014. So it had just come and there were independent voices. Somebody was doing sarcasm on cricket, somebody was doing on politics, somebody on religion, somebody on that. So all those things were there. But one thing people won't know, you just cannot believe it, that Twitter, the most toxic place, every evening, for 5-6 hours, till late 2-3, evening 7 o'clock onwards, it used to be the best place in the world for music, poetry, artistic talk, creative discussions, a whole lot of wonderful things. That all is gone because now It has been taken over by media and politicians, the most toxic people in the world. And so if you have Trump on one side, you have Putin on one side, then you have Mao on one side, then all kinds of countries trying to take this and influence your mind. The biggest challenge for them and for us is this technology is very good also. Okay, but this technology, because it's so unregulated, that we don't know what to do with it. And when human minds don't know what to do with something, they end up using it for destructive ways. There is a wonderful film, I recommend every human being must watch. It's called Gods Must Be Crazy. Have you seen it? Okay, so people who don't know, for their benefit, I'll just tell you that in Africa there is a small tribe, they don't even have a language. You know, they are so uncivilized. And they live happily, beautifully. No, they don't possess anything, they don't wear clothes, they have no problems. I can raise your child, you can raise my child, it's a nice commune. And one day from America, a plane flies, 2 corporate executives drinking Coke and all that. And one of them, it's a low altitude aircraft, and one of them finishes the small Coke bottle. Earlier there used to be smaller Coke bottle. He finishes it and just throws it in the air, and it falls in that village. First, they don't know what it is. Okay, then slowly they find different utilities of that bottle. They start making food, they start breaking wood, then they find 1 million, they start digging holes with that. Then everybody realizes something of utility, something can be done with this. Then everybody wants to possess it. Okay, and everybody wants to possess, and possession has a great quality. It has competition, then it has jealousy, then you want to destroy the other party. It takes up then 2 tribes, it becomes 2 tribes, then tribals want to fight with each other. And then one most stupid idiot, he realizes that at the core, the problem is this bottle, and he says, I'll go and throw this bottle at the end of the world. And he never finds end of the world, and they have to live with all the bad qualities of human beings. It's a very, very metaphorical and so funny. I mean, you just can't imagine. Every second you will fall off your chair laughing. So, and that's exactly what is happening. We don't know what to do with social media. We don't know how to use it. Now, एक Hindu philosophy में concept है, there are 3 stages. There are 3 levels of this world. One is drashya, something is happening. Okay, I am talking right now, so I am Drash, somebody else will come, they will become Drash. And there is Darshak. Okay, and when the Darshak can see, Darshak and Drash together, you become Drishta. जिसको बोलते हैं seer, English में, S-E-E-R, seer. Then you become seer. पर आज फिर टेक्नोलॉजी क्या हो गया है कि दर्शक has become Drashya, or Drash has become, Darshaks have become Drashya. Everybody is a Drashya themselves. And we don't know what to do with this Coke bottle, so we have to find the end of the world and try and throw it somewhere. But social media cancel our troll, aap keh rahe the. See, 90% of the trolls are all organized trolls. They work for somebody. If something is happening, when my last film, Vaccine War, was releasing, around that time something happened, and some Bollywood super duper stars film also came and all that. And then everybody was attacking me from cinematic point of view. They were attacking my daughter and this and that. When both the films faded away, now political trolls come in and all those kind of things. But you have to create the skill how to deal with trolls and these kind of things. It's a very bad world, and please don't be on social media if you can.
Only one more question, please. Time is up. Only one more question. Jamna.
Yeah. So thank you
Okay,
for this session. And do you have any idea to show the last 200
Oh no,
years
I saw
of...
her standing, so.
Okay.
We'll take. Don't. Yeah.
Do you have any idea to show the last 200 years of Tamil Nadu's Dravidian...
Yeah, ma'am, I'm a
This Dravidian Files is much needed here.
See, See, when I met Buddha in a traffic jam, my shoulder was broken. When I made Tashkent Files, I still have 2 or 3 cases going on. So there were some 15, 14 legal attacks on me cases. By Kashmir Files, I didn't even care about physical attack or legal attacks, but then there was a different kind of attack and fatwas and all that. And for last 1.5 years, I haven't traveled with my children and wife anyway. I mean, we don't travel in the same car, nothing. I don't go out. I used to see one film every week in theaters. I haven't gone to theaters in 1.5 years. I don't go to restaurants. I can't go anywhere, you know, a lot of places I can't go to. So now with Delhi Files, I exactly know what is going to happen. इस यानी मरवाना ही चाहते हो क्या खत्म हो जाए let somebody else do it
Yeah, Jamna.
but enough yeah I don't want to get involved in Ambedkar versus any other politics you know
Next. Yeah.
पर मैं आपको एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ I want to tell you something just half a second it's very important I tell you and I've been wanting to talk about it at least maybe I'm a bad guy, but a conversation must start with this. Everybody talks about hate against somebody. Okay? What is hate? When I say you should hate your mother or your father or your friend, that is hate. Okay? But if my behavior evokes hate against me, that's not hate. Hate is when you provoke somebody to feel hatred towards something or somebody, that is hate. I have been going to Nagpur for a very long time and I never saw it. Recently, 1 month ago, I was in Nagpur. I was going for research to Sevagram, to Gandhi Ashram. So my assistants were with me. So I asked this guy, तुम लोग जाके ये क्यों नहीं जाते हो? Go and see Ambedkar's where he became Bodh and his bhumi, क्या बोलते हैं? बौद्ध भूमि, चैत्य भूमि है. हाँ, नहीं, चैत्य नहीं. Diksha Bhumi, sorry. Where he took Diksha. Diksha Bhumi. And I have been there many times. Believe me, मैं कई बार तो government की तरफ से भी गया हूँ, लोग भी ले गए हैं. I have been there. I posted a lot in praise of that place because you go inside and you read wonderful documents. I have written a lot about it. My assistant sent me, who's a apolitical person actually. His department is not even writing and research. His job is just to record on the camera. So most apolitical, maybe he abuses me after recording. I don't know. So because these are paid people. So from there, he said, sir, have you ever been there? I said, why? He said, I've never seen such a hateful place in my life. I said, why? He sent me 22 vows of Ambedkarji, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, from there to me. I posted it same day on social media. Please do me a favor, go after this and read those vows. It says, it will provoke you to hate Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, hate every Brahmin. It uses the word hate. In fact, instead of saying that these people should be destroyed from the world, it has been paraphrased in little different language. But whose greatness is it? People who accepted it, and still we call him the author of our constitution. Those people. It is their greatness. Because Patel also wrote the constitution. There were 15 or 16 women who also wrote that constitution. Nobody, because of our failed communist education system, nobody knows about them. Right? So you must understand, before saying that Hindus are this and that, one should understand people who hate us and write it in their plaque. Right at the entrance of Diksha, if I sometimes ask if Buddha were reborn, and if he has to read those 22 vows, what would he say? Imagine, Buddha will be the fourth person to say this is wrong, this is sin. But we give him the highest place. There is no prime minister ever, there will be no prime minister ever in the future who will be ever be able to say one word against this. I am saying it, you try and say it. Nobody can say it. Because it's not a problem with Hindus or Brahmins and Dalits. It's the problem with this divisive politics which is being done around caste. I think today's India is trying to move away from that. Caste is where fathers have done some sin and a child is trying to get away from that. Give him that space. Give him that respect, that dignity, that I am trying to change my past, I am trying to re-engineer my destiny and my future. You give them that respect all over the world. Instead of that, we are always abused and shamed in the world, and I am absolutely against it. These people who are doing it, they are the first to be cancelled.
Jamna, last question, and then we'll conclude.
I'm sorry I extended the time, but it was important to tell you this.
I see two very powerful people sitting there. I'm talking about in terms of media influence. As a mother and as a grandmother, I have one serious concern. What can you people do to ensure that, children will not listen to us. They prefer to get advice through social media, Instagram, Twitter. And so what can you people, like you are a very powerful media person, sense that you make beautiful films which come out with the truth. Not come out with something which takes our children and grandchildren back to the roots, where where we have failed to instill that sort of a upbringing that we had, the kind of peace we feel, the contentment.
See, I understood what you are saying, but then taking your children to your ancestral home, you cannot outsource that job. You have to do it. How can I do it?
I have
Nobody in
one
this world can do it.
What about people who don't have an ancestral home? See, that is a practical reality of people living in
roots.
cities.
See, even a banyan tree also has roots, and a small plant also has roots. You know, finding the roots. And what are roots, first of all? If you want to, your child, like in America, they show Mahabharata serial all the time. Then you are showing a banyan tree's child, you are showing the roots of a peepal tree. You know, you are showing wrong Mahabharata. Every incident you shown in that is so hilarious. I mean, it's like a satire on Mahabharata. It's so bad and pathetically done. But we like it because there has never been any Mahabharata on TV. So we say, whatever it is, it's wonderful. It's like somebody going to just one temple, he will do everything, he'll buy new clothes and everything. But if you go every day, you realize that yes, temple doesn't mean that you ignore the thugs sitting outside. You have to look at things in completeness. So similarly, children is parents' responsibility. I cannot be responsible for your child. All I can do is, I can show him with my craft and art and skill.
Exactly, that is exactly what
But one thing you can do, we did 25 years ago, cut the bloody TV from your house. All kinds of TV. Just don't have TV. Tell me something. Let's end it. Let's end it on a good thought. Tell me something. If I ask you to eat something which is bad for your body, if you have diabetes, do you eat sugar? No, na?
If I know and if I understand.
Yeah, if you know, if you have it, if your child has a problem who doesn't understand, as a mother, will you let him, suppose he is allergic to, say, peanuts, will you let him eat peanuts? No. Correct? Why do you think mind is not part of your body? Listen to me first. Why do you think mind is not part of your body? You don't let you consume toxic food in your stomach, but you want toxic thoughts, ideas, everything in your, any kind of junk you can put in your body. Do you keep eating food throughout the day? No. But you keep consuming toxic food for your mind throughout the day. That is your problem. You are lazy. You have subscribed to Netflix. You are watching TV. You have given access to your children to these things. Then you can't complain. So
Mr.
think
Agnihotri,
like this.
That was not my...
Jamna, I think we can take it from here. The time
We'll
is
talk
up
offline.
and we have
We'll
other
talk.
sessions.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vivek. As always, it was a pleasure to be in conversation
Thank you,
with you.
Shefali. Thank you, Bharatji. Thank you, everyone.